So we're here to compare all of the 5-star artifacts in Genshin Impact today. I'm here with my co-host Rory, and we'll
Hello.
be going through each of them one by one and determining where they should go on a tier list, judging by their various merits and qualities. So, Rory, would you like to introduce yourself? Just say hello.
Yep. Hello.
He'll be reading off the set bonuses of the artifacts, but we'll just be assuming that these are of a general quality, not really going into like min-maxing the substats or whatnot, but mostly on the set bonuses and whatnot, since that's the main difference between all of these. So we'll just get right into it. The first one on our list is the Gladiators Finale. So would you tell us what they do?
Okay, so the two-piece set bonus is just a straight attack plus 18%. And the four-piece set bonus is if the wielder of this artifact uses a sword, claymore, or polearm, it increases their normal attack damage by 35%.
So I think this is probably a D tier artifact, just because the bonuses are just so like simple that pretty much any other artifact set will do something more specifically better. It doesn't scale well, and it's just a little too broad, I think, to be useful.
Yeah, it's very general. It's just if you want to hit them harder with your sword, you hit them harder with your sword. It doesn't really offer much more than that.
Yeah, and the fact that there's an artifact on here that we'll get to later that just basically does it better really kind of just seals it, seals its fate. The next artifact on our list is Wanderer's Troop. So let's talk about this one a bit.
Okay, so the two-piece bonus is elemental mastery up by 80, and the four-piece bonus is increased charge attack damage by 35% if the character uses a catalyst or bow.
So I know you were a big fan of this one for a while, especially because of the 4-piece set.
Yes, this was the set I used on Amber for pretty much all the way up to Adventure Rank 50. And this combined with Amos's bow leveled all the way up, made her like an exceptional damage dealer. I know not many people are going to agree with that one, but it carried me all the way through to AR 50, so it
Yeah,
worked for me.
I think definitely because bows benefit a lot from charged attacks. It's probably a little bit of a step above, so I think C is probably fair for that. Because
I think
while
that's
its
reasonable.
bonuses are still pretty broad, for my liking, I think it is a little better because it benefits more from the weapons that it affects.
Yeah, I would say so. It's pretty useful. I would say it's probably not very useful for catalysts, except maybe Klee because she likes using her charge attack.
Yeah, but I think
But
bows
at
really
the
are where
same
it
time,
shines most.
yes, absolutely. And also, you'd have to sacrifice any other set to get that bonus. So it's really only useful on a character who wouldn't benefit much from any other set.
Yeah, yeah. So the Noblesse Oblige set. Um, let's run through that one.
All right, the two-piece bonus on this set is elemental burst damage up by 20%, and the four-piece bonus is using an elemental burst increases all party members' attack by 20% for 12 seconds, which does not stack.
So I think the 2-piece set is pretty good. I'm not so sure about the 4-piece set because the burst attacks are generally they can be anywhere from like kind of useless to like really really high damaging.
Yeah, I would
So
agree.
someone like D-Luke or something who uses his burst a lot for a lot of damage would probably benefit a lot from this. Um, but even so, I still think it's probably a C at best. Simply
Yeah,
because it's still sort of like a backup set that I would use, not really primarily on someone, because it's quite flexible, but um, it's really something that you use more as a support set.
yeah, this would very much be a support thing. I could almost see it being used on someone's venti almost, especially the four set. When you switch to him, hit the E key, and then the rest of your party has increased 20% attack, 12 seconds, while also charging up the Q. But again, there's better sets for him, and there's probably better sets for every other support character
Yeah,
as well.
it is. It's a high B, I will say, but we'll put it there for now. Maiden Beloved. Then I like this one a lot.
The two-piece bonus is character healing up by 15%, and the four-piece bonus is using an elemental skill or burst increases healing received by all party members by 20% for 10 seconds.
I think on the pure utility of its healing, it's got to be an S tier artifact. Simply because
Yes.
if you want a set for a healer, like there's really no other substitute.
I was going to say there's no other healing set really at all. So if you want to use your Barbaras and any other character specifically for healing, this is basically all you can go for.
Yeah, really. It's just like the dedicated healer set. So,
Yeah.
next up, retracting bolide, I believe. So what's up with this one?
The All right, the retracing set. Two-piece bonus is increasing shield strength by 35%, and the four-piece bonus is while you're protected by a shield, you gain additional 40% normal and charge attack damage.
Yeah, so I think this one really also is probably an S tier, maybe a mid S tier, but I know shields are really useful, and I've seen plenty of character setups that have like these insane shield based ones. So being able to make them even more powerful to just like negate basically all damage is super good for like super late game builds. And the increase in damage when you're protected by a shield is just really the cherry on top, in my opinion.
Yeah, this is again, it's just like the other set before it. There is no other set that does this, so that on its own makes it exceptionally useful in that kind of niche. If you were using, say, Noelle, this would be a very good set to use on Noelle.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Definitely.
that shield can protect the whole party from all damage, essentially, especially with a 35% increase. And while that shield is up, 40% additional attack damage that is a massive buff.
Yeah, definitely. The Blazing Crimson Witch or something like that. Crimson Witch of Flames, I think.
Crimson Witch of Flames, yes. The first up is pyro damage up 15%, and the four-piece bonus is increases overload and burning damage by 40%, increases vaporize and melt by 15%, and also using an elemental skill increases the two-piece set bonus by 50% from its starting value for 10 seconds, and this can stack 3 times.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
well, I don't.
Pyro damage.
Yeah. So again, third in a row. This has to be S tier simply because fire still, at the time of this video, is the most broken element in the game, and absolutely by far is brokenly overpowered.
Pyro reacts well with every single other element, no matter what. Just reacting with any other element except itself, it just gets more damage, and it's already the highest damage just by default.
I think Pyro is the most 5-star characters in the game because there's Diluc, there's Hu Tao, there's Klee, and I think I'm forgetting someone else.
Don't think so. I think you're all right.
Okay, so those three basically.
Which is a lot, yeah.
And even some of the 4-star characters, like I know Bennett's really like meta and
Bennett,
stuff.
Jiangling.
No, she's not meta.
No, she's not meta, but she's a 4-star fire character.
Yeah, but anyway, fire, just by virtue of how powerful it is, and just a set that makes it even more powerful, there's really no other place it could go other than S tier.
You missed one of a meta fire character.
Who?
Amber.
Well, I wanted to leave it for you because I know you repped for her. Lava Walker then is up next. It's twin set, but a little different.
Yes. The two-piece for this is pyro damage. Sorry, wrong one. Pyro resistance increased by 40%, and the four-piece is increased damage against opponents affected by pyro.
So much like the previous artifact, I think this is very good. I don't think it's quite as good, simply because it has to be used with a fire character or element. So I want to put it at A, because you can put this on like an electro character or a water character, and get like a good reaction to something affected by fire. But I think those are generally less powerful in terms of pure damage than vice versa.
Yes.
So I will put it at A as a good combo with a fire character, but not really good enough to be S tier on its own.
Yeah, I would agree. It's something you would put on a character who you specifically use against fire only, or someone you want to pair up with a fire character for the extra damage.
Yeah,
But
definitely.
really, you have to use the whole 4 set to get any real use out of it.
Yeah, a lot. That's the thing with a lot of these artifact sets is like their 2-piece bonuses are okay, and you can have 2 sets with the 2-piece bonuses, but to use the 4-piece bonus, you basically give up any other effects. So it's very much a commitment to that sort of play style, which takes away a little bit of your flexibility. But if you're just trying to do one thing, like in the Abyss or whatever, that's probably how you would want to use these artifacts the most.
Yeah, I agree.
So next one is the Depth Strider or whatever. Heart of Depth. Something.
Yes.
Depth Strider's that Minecraft art enchantment, I think. So what's the Heart of Depth do?
Okay, so the 2-piece bonus on this set is Hydro damage bonus of 15%, and the 4-piece bonus is after using an elemental skill increases normal attack and charge attack damage by 30% for 15 seconds. Very similar to the Pyro set, but for water.
Mm-hmm. So I think this is probably also an A tier artifact. That'll be a theme that you'll see coming up. Especially because I am a little biased because I use this set with Child, and he is quite powerful in terms of just like raw damage output. And since you're using his burst effect a lot, you're pretty often taking advantage of the extra bonus from the 4-piece set.
Yeah, I use this set on Mona, and it's incredibly useful because her burst also distracts the enemies, puts them all in one place, and you can just hit them all.
Yeah,
it's very useful.
Yeah, the funny thing about the water and the cryo ones is that they were added with Dragon Spine, so but they were added in the same dungeon domain, so they don't really have like a second counterpart. So it's a little bit like you kind of have to take a unique advantage of their play styles based on the effects. But I still think that Hydro is probably one of the more damaging elements overall in the game. So that's why I am putting it at A. Thundering Fury. Oh boy.
In a shock turn that surprises no one, the 2-piece bonus is electro damage up by 15%. The 4-piece bonus is increased damage caused by overload, electrocharge, and superconduct by 40%. And triggering these effects decreases the elemental skill cooldown by 1 second, and this can occur once every 0.8 seconds.
So this poor artifact set does not get to join its companions at A or above, but this is in fact going at B. Because unfortunately Electro is just not in a very good place at the game.
It's nothing specifically against the artifact itself, but Electro, it needs some help.
Yeah, it doesn't react the greatest with other artifacts, or elements. I mean, I think it does fairly well with Pyro for damage and fairly good with Hydro for like disruption. But it's totally completely useless against pure ice enemies like Cryo Slimes. I think it's the only element that has 2 immunities to Slimes, which is a bit of an oof, unfortunately for Electro. Should it get buffed in the future, maybe with Inazuma, we'll see. This could change, but currently it is a good artifact, but not that good.
Yeah, it's a good artifact for a relatively bad element at the moment, unfortunately.
And to go along with that, we also have Thunder Soother.
The 2-piece bonus for this is Electro resistance increased by 40%, and the 4-piece is increased damage against opponents affected by Electro. So essentially, the Lava Walker set for Electro.
Mm-hmm. And much like the Lava Walker set, this is going to sit a tier below, simply because the defense. I think in this game, the meta is just is pure offense basically. If you're getting hit,
I would agree.
You're doing stuff wrong, or rather, you're wasting things if you're getting hit.
It's especially with the current event running.
Oh my god!
Very much demonstrates this. If you're not doing maximum damage output at the cost of essentially everything else, then they can't hit you if they're dead. So
for reference, he's talking about what's it called? It's the one
Crimson Tides.
Something Tides. The one in the Daupa Gorge and the little arena thing. But yeah, I got my butt kicked by it today.
I only managed.
And you
It's
you
got the
basically
ice
need to
buff.
do like insane damage just
Yeah.
instantly. If you're getting hit, you're wasting time, you're wasting artifacts
You have to
uses.
kill, what is it, 5 ruin guards,
Yeah, in
within
like
a
two
very
minutes,
short time.
less than two and a
Yeah,
half
and
minutes.
they're level
But
95, so their health is off the
yeah,
scale.
but we're digressing at this point.
Yes, we are.
So yeah, unfortunately, this sits at C tier. Viridescent Venerer.
Okay, so this set, the 2-piece bonus is animo damage up by 15%, and the 4-piece is increases swirl damage by 60%, and it decreases the opponent's elemental resistance to whichever element is infused with the swirl by 40% for 10 seconds. I will refer to this as the Venti set.
Yes, definitely is useful on him. Um, and much like the shield one, this goes right up to S tier.
Yeah, I would agree.
Because swirl damage is just great, and like if you have Venti or Sucrose and you are just able to trap enemies in it and just cause a boatload of reactions with each other, it just does so much damage that it makes fights a cakewalk, a joke.
I'm sure everyone's seen the videos of Venti hitting his Q once in a domain and everyone dying after somebody adds one element to it. And
Yeah.
Just watching everything die.
So because Animo is so useful on characters like that, not so much on characters like Jean, who really can't use Swirl that much.
Yes.
But the characters who can use it effectively, it's just so good, so it has to be S tier. I actually think I want to move the Maiden set down to A, because I was thinking about it, and much like defense, healing is a very good thing to have, but probably not what you want to focus on primarily.
Yeah,
so
I would say you would have like one character, probably Barbara, set up as a dedicated healer.
Barbara
Like
or
Kiki
maybe
can also
Jean
work.
as like an off healer.
Jean can also, as an off healer, and Kiki is a kind of slightly more biased towards healing off healer.
She's sort of like a hybrid. It's
That's right.
it's strange, but I like
She's
it. That's
quite
why I
weird.
like this game.
Yeah.
Anyway, Blizzard Strayer, then third to last.
Yes. So this set has, on its 2-piece bonus, is cryo damage up by 15%. And for its 4-piece bonus, when a character attacks an opponent affected by cryo, their crit rate is increased by 20%. If the opponent is frozen, crit rate is increased by an additional 20%. Which is...
I am thinking that this is probably also probably a lower A, but much like the Hydro one, the Fire one, and the Electro one, they're just good sets that make your 4 main offensive elements just a little bit better. So I can't really knock it. The increased crit rate for the 4-piece set is useful, especially if you're pairing it with Hydro to freeze things. So yeah, any other thoughts on it?
Well, thinking specifically with a character like Ganyu, if you're running it with somebody who uses water, you're getting a lot of freeze, and if adding 40% crit rate to a charged bow character whose charged bow shot generates a secondary attack, you can get some ridiculous numbers using this.
Yeah, for sure. Archaic Petra, then, is second to last.
Yeah. The 2-piece bonus is geo damage up 15%, and the 4-piece bonus is upon obtaining an elemental shard created through a crystallized reaction, all party members gain 35% damage bonus for that particular element for 10 seconds. Only one form of elemental damage bonus can be gained in this manner at any one time.
So we were talking about this artifact a little bit before the recording stream, and I think it goes at a B for 2 reasons. The first one is just because geo damage is kind of like lackluster in general. There's not a lot of characters that take advantage of geo damage itself. It's good for like Zhongli's ultimate, but beyond that, there's not a whole lot of geo-based offensive attacks.
And I would agree. Yeah, the 4-piece bonus on this, it's kind of similar to the increased
the shield one.
The decreased. No, I was going to say it's almost like the geo version of the Animo 4-piece that decreases the elemental resistance, just in a different way. So instead of decreasing their resistance, you just increase the damage done. But because geo as a kind of offensive support element is not quite as good as Animo, I would say. I would say geo is a bit more defensive support rather than offensive support.
Yeah,
For
and
the most
and
part.
the thing that we were talking about is that the wording on the 4-piece set really kind of affects how it would be. If
Yes.
it is if it is a bonus based if it is a bonus to the element that you are shielded against, then that's good because generally you're getting your shields from whatever is affected by that element, like an electro slime or whatever. If it is a bonus to using the artifact or using the element that you are shielded against, it's not quite as good because if we have that same
Yeah.
situation where like you're attacking an electro slime, attacking with electro is kind of pointless because it's immune.
Yes.
So while
That's a
while not all
great point.
while not all enemies are immune to their own element, it certainly would be a notch down. Um,
And even if they're not immune to their own element, they tend to have at least some resistance towards it.
yeah. So while it does depend on the wording of that, I still think it's an okay artifact set,
Mm.
but probably most comfortable at B.
Yeah, I would say B, and if the wording means the other thing, then even like down even further, because
Yeah.
that would be mostly useless.
All right, last set. Bloodstained Chivalry.
Okay, so the 2-piece bonus is physical damage up by 25%, and the 4-piece bonus is after defeating an opponent, it increases your charged attack damage by 50% and reduces the stamina cost of charged attacks to 0 for 10 seconds.
So, Bloodstained Chivalry is a bit of an unfortunate artifact, but also a bit of a
Yes.
fortunate artifact. So, much like the very first artifact that we talked about, this is mostly a physical based set. However, I think it's a little bit
Yes.
better, but only just a little bit better. It's two
This
piece.
is a very interesting one.
Yeah, you want to talk about it?
Yeah, I would say it's kind of the same but different for the first artifact we spoke about. It's just instead of not just full just attack up, it's physical damage up. So this set would really only be useful on a character who uses their physical damage more than their elemental damage. So characters like Jean, for example, it would be quite useful to get that physical
Yeah,
damage up.
like
And maybe
claymores, pole arms,
Noelle
swords, and maybe
as well.
some bows.
Yeah, if you were using Rust, perhaps, but that's if you use Rust, you're doing it wrong. Um, yeah. So and I
The
mean,
4-piece
one thing you could
bonus.
do- Sorry, go on.
Where the 4-piece bonus, in my opinion, is almost entirely useless.
Yes.
Well,
Maybe,
I think
there's
unless
like a
you're
couple of characters.
yeah, unless you're using it to deliver a single really devastating blow, which if you are, like, fair enough. But I think in terms of general purpose, like I find myself very rarely using charged attacks just because I'd rather like swap characters and use their abilities back and forth, hit them a few times, swap, etc., etc.
Yeah. One of the only like possible uses I could see for this set, if you wanted to go for a DPS Noelle, because getting the physical damage up with her claymore, and if you kill an enemy, you can do her spin attack with 50% extra damage with no stamina cost. So
Yeah,
you
the
can do it
stamina
over and
cost is
over
almost
again.
is like
So it's
okay,
only
I
useful for
guess.
people who use it's only useful for people who really use their charge attack a lot, and that's not too many characters.
Yeah, like if people are using it, they'll usually use it once. So even then,
Yeah, I would say if you wanted to go for a build on, say, Jean as a DPS, you might pair the 2 set of this with either the 2 set of Animo or the 2 set of the Gladiator set,
yeah,
just to
maybe.
get like max the damage output. But it's very niche, and there are just generally better like ways of doing it.
Yeah, so pretty interesting layout I think that we've come up with. I think a common theme is a lot of the elemental ones are pretty high, as well as the healing. The support, I guess, elements you could say, are surprisingly like the best ones, for differing reasons. But yeah, it's
Essentially, any of the niche artifacts, because they're the only ones or the best one at doing that certain job, it's only fair to rank them quite highly. Like the healing set, it's the only healing set, and therefore it's the only healing set you can use. So you might as well use it. So
Mhm.
it's gonna be fairly high. And because, as we spoke about, this game I would say emphasizes attack as a meta over any sort of defensive builds, unless you're doing very
attacks and
specific
crits.
things.
But-
Attacks and crits, yeah. Just damage in general output. Your damage output is your priority.
Mm-hmm.
So as you can probably see, all of the we increase your elemental damage sets are quite high on here, as opposed to some of the, you know,
We make your shields better.
mid-round. I mean, the shield better one is very good, but only for like 2 characters, maybe 3.
Yeah.
So it's good for them, but not good in general.
The resistance
Whereas-
artifacts, like 40% pyro resistance, like, okay,
Yes.
I guess.
And like the attack art, you know, there is no fire character that wouldn't benefit from doing more fire damage, for example. So that means that the fire damage artifact set is just going to be useful regardless.
Mm-hmm.
But you can't say if I started using the shield set on Amber, then I gain literally nothing from it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so, it'll be interesting to see when more artifacts release in the future, where they might stack up. If any game changes
Yes.
might change how the usefulness of the artifacts would be. But, for now, I think that's a pretty interesting list. So, any last words or comments for us?
Electro buff when and represent the Amber gang.
There you have it.